The first step to send inventory into the Amazon FBA warehouse is to sign up for a seller account. You can go to sell.amazon.com to sign up for your seller account. Once you have a seller account, you're going to go ahead and log in. The second step is to make sure that the item that you want to send into the Amazon warehouse is listed under your Manage FBA inventory. If it's not, you're going to go to Inventory and click Add a Product. If you need help with these first two steps, I created this video that goes in depth about how to create your Amazon FBA account, and I also created this video about how to add your first product onto Amazon. But once you've added your product into Amazon, you're going to go to Inventory and click on Manage Inventory. You're then going to scroll down and find the product that you want to send into the Amazon warehouse and click on this little drop down next to the Edit button. You'll then select Send/Replenish Inventory. Now, if you don't see this option, it may be because you are currently fulfilled by merchant and you'll need to switch that. And the way to change that is to click a button that says Change to Fulfilled by Amazon. And for this video, I'm going to be using Vino cards as an example. And this is actually my girlfriend Ariana's product. I taught her how to create a product that she's passionate about and sell it on Amazon. And for anyone that's new to the channel, my name is Travis Marziani. I'm a 7-figure Amazon FBA seller, and I specialize in teaching people how to create and sell products on Amazon. So we're going to click here and we're going to click Send and Replenish Inventory. And make sure to like this video because throughout this video, I'm going to be talking about the top 5 mistakes that beginner Amazon sellers make when sending their products into the Amazon warehouse. And these mistakes can cost you thousands of dollars, but by watching this video till the end, you'll learn how to avoid all the most common mistakes that a lot of new sellers make. And the first mistake is selecting the wrong ship from address. Now I'm going to blur out what our ship from address is, but you always want to check this and make sure it's correct. I've made mistakes of using old addresses, and the way to change this is to click here, Ship from Another Address. You can then click Add Contact and put a new address here. Now this is really important because if you're shipping from your manufacturer's address, you'll want to put their address instead of your own personal address. Now here's a hack that could save you a lot of money. If you're shipping products from China directly into the Amazon warehouse, you might want to find an address that you can use that's located in California as your ship from address. This way, when you're sending products from a Chinese manufacturer into an Amazon warehouse, Amazon's going to pick a warehouse that is in California, which will save you money because if, for instance, they told you to ship your products into a warehouse that was in the middle of the United States, you'd have to pay more for shipping fees because you'd have to pay for the trucking fees from a California port all the way over into the middle of the country. Now, technically, this is against Amazon's rules, so do it at your own risk, but I know a lot of people that have done this and have had a lot of success and saved a lot of money doing it. The next thing you'll look at is the marketplace destination. For most people watching this video, it's probably going to be in the United States. If you're shipping into a marketplace that's not the United States, select the correct marketplace. After that, we can look at the fulfillment capability. If you're planning on just selling your products on Amazon, then you're going to want to select standard fulfillment by Amazon. However, if you're looking to sell products on your own website and you want Amazon to be able to ship out the products for you, you're going to want to select a blank box. Now, if you're selling both on Amazon and on your own website, and you're going to have Amazon ship out the products for both, you can do a mixture of both. Again, for most people, if you're just selling on Amazon, click standard fulfillment by Amazon. Now we're going to scroll down here, and since Ariana has already shipped products before, she already has a template here. If this is your first time shipping a product on Amazon, you're not going to already have a template. You're going to need to create a new case pack template. And before I get into that, it's important to explain that a case in this scenario is a box that holds multiple units of the product that you're sending into Amazon. And for Vino cards, we use the same boxes that the manufacturer shipped the Vino cards product to us in. But if you don't have boxes, you can go into your local Walmart or order them from Amazon, or one of my favorite places to order boxes at a discount is uline.com. When picking a box that you will use as a case to ship your units into the Amazon warehouse, there are some requirements. You need to make sure that no side is longer than 25 inches. And once you put all your units into the box, you need to make sure that it's not going to weigh over 50 pounds. You also want to make sure that all the units that you're going to put into the box will fit as snugly as possible so they don't wiggle or get damaged during shipping. There are some other recommendations on Amazon's website, and I'll put a link to all the recommendations down below. And we're going to give this template a name. So I'm going to call this Vino Cards Test. And then we're going to have to select the number of units per box. And this is the number of her actual units that she sells in every box that she sends into Amazon. And we put 16 into every case that we send into Amazon. You're then going to take out a ruler and measure all 3 sides of the box. And for her product, it's 14.4 by 11.6 by 11.8 inches. Then you're going to take the case with all the units in it and all the tape on it and weigh it and see how much it weighs. I do have a link to a scale that you can buy to weigh all the products that you're going to be selling on Amazon. I'll put the link to that down below in the description. You also need to fill out what your prep category is. And this product has no extra prep needed, but you're going to click on here and you're going to see if any of these categories apply to you. If your product is adult, if it's apparel or hanger, apparel, fabric, plush, baby products, fragile/glass, liquids, perforated packaging, powder, sharp, or small, there's extra prep that needs to be added to your package. Now, this product that we're selling, none of these things apply, so we're going to click no prep needed, and then we're going to click save. The last thing we need to fill out for this template is to answer who's going to label the units. And if you plan on doing it, or if you plan on having your manufacturer label the units, you're going to select by seller. On the other hand, if you want Amazon to label the units, you're going to select Amazon, but there is a 55-cent per unit fee, and it's very easy to label your products. What this is referencing is there's a little sticker that you're going to need to put on every single product that you sell on Amazon. This is usually the FNSKU. And I'll talk about that more later in this video, but I highly recommend just selecting by seller and either having your manufacturer do this for you or for you to do it yourself. Once we're done with the template, we're going to click save and we're going to come to this screen. And we're going to say, how many boxes are we sending into Amazon? And this is the cases is what they mean here. So we're sending in 5 cases. Each has 16 units in there. And so it's a total of 80 units. And then we're going to click ready to send. The next step is to click confirm and continue. But before I do that, I want to tell you about the second mistake that I see a lot of Amazon sellers making, and that's not properly prepping the products that they're going to send into Amazon. Now, the prep is different for different categories. So if your product falls under one of the categories we talked about where prep is needed, I recommend you do the research and find out what you need to do to prep your specific item. And different types of prep are needed depending on the category, but I'll put a link down below to an article that goes over how you need to prep your product depending on which of the prep needed categories it falls into. Another mistake I see beginning Amazon sellers make is they don't properly label the products they're going to be sending into Amazon. So what you want to do is you'll click on this print all SKU labels, and it'll give you different options on how to print the labels. Now, the most common one in the United States is this 30-up labels. You can actually buy sticker paper on Amazon to be able to print out the FNSKU labels. I'll put a link to the labels that I recommend down below. But you'll click on this and you'll click print all. You'll then download the labels, and when you open it up, this is what it shows here. And this number is your FNSKU. This is how Amazon tracks the products that you're sending into Amazon and identifies that product as your specific product that you're selling on Amazon. Down here is the name of the product that you're selling and the condition, which in this case is new. A lot of my Amazon FBA students get confused on what's the difference between the FNSKU and the UPC code. A UPC code is a barcode that all products have. It's the universal product code. And you do need a UPC code to be able to sell a product on Amazon. And this is because Amazon wants to know that the product you're selling on their website is a real product, a legitimate product, and it's just one extra hoop that you need to go through if you're going to sell a product on Amazon. So you do need to get a UPC code, but oftentimes the barcode that is on the actual product that you're sending into the Amazon FBA warehouse needs to be this FNSKU. So you just need to have a UPC code so Amazon knows that your product's legitimate, but on the actual product itself, this is the barcode you want. Now, if your product is brand registered, you can sometimes send your product in just with the UPC barcode printed on the product. You don't actually need the FNSKU. Another thing to note is that if you ask, a lot of times your manufacturer will add stickers of the FNSKU onto your product. Another idea that I've actually done with a lot of my products is print the FNSKU directly on the product. That'll save you money on having to do stickers every single time. So if you don't already have your FNSKU printed on the product, you'll want to print out these stickers and attach it to the products that you're sending into the Amazon warehouse. You're then going to go into confirm shipping. We're going to view this down here and we're going to select a ship date. And I'm going to select Wednesday as the ship date. Now there's two different options that Amazon gives you here. They give you the small parcel delivery, which is what we're selecting, but they also give you the option of less than truckload. And you'll select this option if you're planning on dropping the boxes off at UPS, or basically if you're just sending small amounts of your item. On the other hand, if you're sending a whole pallet of your product into the Amazon warehouse, you're going to select the less than truckload. And this is another mistake I see people making. If you are sending a lot of your product into the Amazon warehouse, don't keep doing small parcel delivery. Start doing an entire pallet. And this is how I used to send my product, Performance Nut Butter, into the Amazon warehouse. We'd send in 1,000 units at a time. And if you're sending in that many units, you can actually schedule a truck to come to your house with a lift gate and pick up the entire pallet from your house or from your warehouse. And if you're sending in a lot of inventory, this will cut your shipping costs in half. But I do want to note that generally speaking, it's relatively inexpensive to send your products into the Amazon warehouse. And that's because you're using Amazon's discounted UPS shipping rates. So we're sending in 5 boxes and it's only costing us about $40. And the total weight of that is $140. If you were to try to do that yourself, it's going to be a lot more expensive. And if you want to use a shipping service other than UPS, you can, but remember it's going to be a lot more expensive. If you want to do that, you would click on this option here. You'd click on which service you're going to use, DHL, FedEx, USPS, or another one. But generally speaking, if you can, I recommend using UPS. I do also want to note that if you select less than truckload as your shipping option, you're not going to be using UPS. Amazon's going to connect you with a local trucking company, and that process is a little bit different. That's something I talk about in much more depth in my Amazon FBA program, the Passion Product Formula. I'll put a link to that down below. But for most people watching this video, you're just going to be doing small parcel delivery, and you're going to select UPS as your carrier. And once you've done that, you're going to click Accept Charges and Confirm Shipping. You're then going to need to print out the box labels. And these are the labels that you're going to put on the outside of the cases that you're sending into Amazon. And you're going to get 2 labels. The first one is the UPS label here. And this is the label for UPS to scan in your package and to be able to track your package. And there's a few things that you're going to want to look at here to make sure everything's okay. The first is that the weight's correct, because if you accidentally put your weight to be lower than your actual weight of the box that you're shipping, sometimes UPS will ding you. This can cause a lot of issues. This is another mistake that a lot of Amazon sellers make. Same thing when you're looking at the dimensions of the box that you're shipping in. You're going to want to look at this and make sure that this is correct. Now they rounded up the numbers here to 14 by 12 by 12. You're also going to attach to the same box that you put the first label on, this second label over here. And this is the Amazon FBA Box ID label. The purpose of this label is when you ship it into the Amazon Fulfillment Center, Amazon will scan this label and know exactly where your package is in the warehouse. And every time your package moves around the warehouse, they're going to scan this label. So this is a very important label. Please leave this label uncovered. Basically, don't put any tape over the parts that need to be scanned, because sometimes that can cause some issues. On this label, you're going to want to make sure that your ship from and your ship to address are correct, and that your ship to address over here matches the ship to address over here. And you see that I have 5 pages here, and these 5 pages correspond to the 5 boxes. Another interesting thing to note is the ship to address on these 2 labels is actually different than the ship to address on these 2 labels. And that's because Amazon's sending your packages into different Amazon FBA warehouses. You can then print out these labels using sticker paper, or if you prefer instead, you can use regular paper and then just cut out the labels and use tape to attach it to the big boxes that you have that will carry your individual units. In this scenario, we have the big master case that holds 16 units of Ariana's product, Vino cards. We'll put all 16 units in that box, and then we will attach both these labels to a box. We will have 5 boxes in total, all with 2 labels on them. You can then take your boxes to your local UPS store and drop them off. Or if you prefer, you can actually schedule UPS to come pick up the boxes from your house, which can be really beneficial, especially if you don't live close by to a UPS store. Once you've sent your products into the Amazon warehouse, you can track them and see the status of them by going to Inventory, Manage FBA Shipments. In here, you'll see the shipment name, when it was created, and when it was last updated. You'll also see where it was shipped to. In this case, it's multiple destinations, but sometimes it's just one destination. You'll also see the number of SKUs, and SKUs stands for stock keeping units. It's how many different types of products you're sending in. In this case, it's just one type of product. The units expected and the units received. And there's a discrepancy here, and we're gonna do a little bit of digging and figure out why that is. It said that they expected 80 units, but so far they've only received 48. That's not necessarily bad. And we can see by the status that it's still in receiving. So receiving means that it's already been sent to the warehouse. They already started receiving it, but they're still kind of unpacking everything. Now we can click over here on the shipment name to get a little bit more details and to see the entire status. So we see when the shipment was created, and it wasn't shipped out until June 16th, which is accurate. And we can see here it was delivered a few days ago, and then it was checked in, and as of right now, it's still in receiving. And it goes on to say that Amazon will confirm the receipt of all units in your shipment on or before August 14th. So there's still some time before then, and sometimes it does take Amazon some time to check in all the inventory. That's why I always recommend, if you're about to run out of inventory, to send in your inventory as soon as possible, because sometimes it does take Amazon a little while to check in all that inventory. Same thing if you're planning on launching a product on a certain day, make sure that you send your products into the Amazon warehouse way ahead of time. There's also in the past been a lot of issues during the holiday season. Sometimes it's taken Amazon up to 6 weeks to check in all my inventory. So make sure and be careful about that. And under the status tab, there's a few different things that you might commonly see. And Amazon has a list of them that I'll put in a link down below, along with the definition of what the different statuses mean. Some common ones that you might see are in transit, which means that it's going to the Amazon warehouse. Delivered, which means it was delivered to the Amazon warehouse, but no one from Amazon has actually checked it in. Checked in, meaning that they've acknowledged that they do have your products checked in, but they haven't really opened them up yet and they haven't started receiving the actual items. Receiving, which means that they're in the process of cutting open the boxes and actually checking in the individual units into the Amazon warehouse. And closed. Once all your units have been checked in and accounted for, the shipping plan will be closed. And in the shipment summary, if you go to shipment events, you'll actually see the entire timeline of everything that is happening. And something to look out for is sometimes there will be discrepancies. For instance, you'll send in a certain number of units and they'll say that, hey, we didn't receive all those units. In this case, we said we sent in 582 units. They said that they only located 573, saying that 9 are missing. You can actually upload documents and follow up and show Amazon that you actually did send in all the units that you said you did. And if you submit sufficient amount of proof, they will actually credit you for the difference between the amount of units that you said you sent in and the amount of units that they received, if they really do believe that you sent in the real amount. Because sometimes in the Amazon warehouse, units get lost or damaged. Another thing I want to mention is if you're sending in an entire pallet full of your product, you're going to have to go into the individual shipment summary and print out a BOL. BOL stands for Bill of Lading. It's a piece of paper that you're gonna have to give to the truck driver when he comes to your house to pick up the pallet. This just verifies that he's picking up the correct pallet. Now, there has been times for me where I had not printed out this paper and they don't really care. They still pick up the pallet, but sometimes this can cause issues and sometimes you'll be charged a little bit extra of a fee. And when the truck driver picks up the pallet, he will also give you a receipt. Make sure you put that receipt in a safe place, because if your units get lost, this is proof that you actually did send in that entire pallet. And it happened to me one time that Amazon lost an entire pallet of mine and I had misplaced that receipt. And so it took a month or two. They eventually did locate the pallet, but for a month or two, I just assumed that they lost the pallet and I was going to lose that money, and it was my fault because I had lost that receipt. So be very careful about that. Another important thing to note is on the bill of lading will be the information about which trucking company is going to be coming to your house or your warehouse to pick up your pallet. I highly recommend calling that trucking company because sometimes they actually need you to schedule a time. Also, if they're picking up the pallet from your house, you need to call them and let them know that it's a residential address because they're going to send a smaller truck. Same thing, if you don't have a forklift, if you don't have any way to actually get it on the truck, you're going to need to let them know about that as well and tell them that they need to bring a truck that has a lift gate. And a lift gate is a way to get the pallet onto the truck. There is one more mistake that new Amazon sellers make when sending in inventory, and that's sending in too much or too little of their inventory. And if you send in too much inventory into the Amazon warehouse, your inventory just sits in the Amazon warehouse. And Amazon actually charges you a monthly storage fee. So you want to be very careful that you don't send in too much inventory. On top of that, they have long-term storage fees. If your inventory is sitting in there for more than 6 months, they start charging you even more money. So you want to be really careful when you're sending in inventory that you're not sending in way too much. On the flip side, if you send in too little, this can also be a problem, because if you start to have a lot of sales for your product on Amazon and you run out of inventory and you're out of stock, this could cause issues. This can actually cause Amazon to blacklist you or to at least lower the rank of your product. Because if Amazon sees that you're running out of inventory, they're going to think that you're not a reliable company and they're going to put you lower in the search results, which is going to lead to less sales for you. So how do you know how much inventory to send into the Amazon warehouse? I generally recommend sending 3 to 6 months worth of inventory into the warehouse. This way you don't run into any kind of long-term storage fees, and if your products start to sell really quickly, you can send more inventory in before you run out of stock. And if you're new to selling on Amazon, I have an entire free Amazon FBA course that you can get by clicking right here. It's an entire playlist of videos on YouTube that'll teach you step by step pretty much everything you need to know to start selling on Amazon. So click on that playlist to get this free Amazon FBA course, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.